started in about 1 minute here. If you could please have a seat.
Talk louder, Bob.
You get the clock fixed back there.
I'll take it.
The time is now 6:30 p.m. We're located at Pine Ridge Clubhouse at 4801 Lakeside Club Boulevard for our monthly board meeting. Please, would everybody stand?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ann, would you please call roll?
Bob Tolles,
Here.
Tom Trino,
Here.
Scott Harris,
Absent.
Bill England,
Here.
John Moll,
Here.
Roy Blaze,
Here.
and Ann Urban here.
We have a quorum of 6.
Was the meeting properly noted?
Yes, it was.
Okay, do I have a motion to read last month's minutes?
I make a motion we not read last month's minutes.
I'll
I
second
second.
waiving the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we have 2 open for.
Okay, we have 2 people signed up. Ed Ricky, come on up.
Can we please silence those cell phones?
Good evening. I just wanted to make a reminder that starting Saturday, we're going to be having the Saturday morning coffee clutch at 11 a.m. Everybody's invited. You want to bring some cake and donut to share, and we'll have the coffee going, decaf and regular. Thank you.
Thank good.
Thanks, Ed. We also have Vicky Franz signed up.
Vicki Franzen, 4612 Blackberry Drive. I just wanted to comment on Eric, the wonderful job you did on getting things scheduled ahead of time for the hurricane. I mean, who knows where we would be if you had to schedule tree guys and stuff after the fact. And for everybody that did come out and help us the morning after to help clean up. Thank you.
Pat yourself on the back there.
Yeah. Not all.
Yeah.
I believe that's it for people signed up. Okay, tonight we're just gonna focus on this community and our storm. I was in Michigan for a wedding, so I wasn't hunkered down with y'all, but I really wish I was. It was probably quite of an experience that everybody went through, and thankfully we are safe here relatively. We did not get affected compared to the other folks that live as close as a mile away from here. People lost their homes, and they've been displaced, and you know, you gotta kind of put yourself in their shoes and you know, think about that for a minute. So we'll have a moment of silence for everybody that's suffering through this. Thank you. I'm sure we all have stories and know people that are affected close to us and far away in other areas of Florida. So I got back and I was surprised to see the progress that had been made and the fact that the community structure was still here. I don't know, maybe we lost one window in the community, maybe more. I believe there were a couple garage doors that blew out or were damaged. We have roofs with shingles off and concerned people as far as that goes, and I certainly don't blame any one of them. Thankfully, when we had the roofing put on, they put the underlayment in there that you folks from the north would refer to as an ice dam material. It's adhesive on the back side, so it's actually glued down to the plywood. And that's why we didn't lose any of that, opposed to the felt paper that I believe previously was on here. So we have that to thank, and I don't believe we have any water intrusion. If anybody does have any water intrusion, insurance related concerns, that you should definitely get with Eric about that. We need to have a detailed list. We have the adjuster here, as you all know, and he's physically going on the roofs. Haven't seen him on the third story yet, but he's a young guy, so he will get up there. That's his job. It's going to take a couple weeks, and even at that, we may not have that full report from him till a little bit later. I'm sure there's a lot of details that he has to put into it, and then we'll know where we stand as far as what the insurance is going to cover and what we need to repair. The repairs are going to be done definitely in a quality fashion. We want to replace any structures such as the dumpsters areas. Ann mentioned to me that she wanted to go with a concrete block 10 years ago. If we had done that, we wouldn't have any damage to those. So we definitely need to keep in mind the storm situations that we have here and build our structures accordingly. The bridge, no damage. The butterfly arbor, no damage. And that's because we built both of those to where they be strong. We do have a roofer locked in and dates set, which Eric will go over. I've had a lot of people ask about volunteering, which we'll get into that in a few minutes. We did have to make decisions such as the brush and tree debris that was piled up all along the road. So we let it sit there until January when FEMA could come and pick it up. It's back in this community, it wasn't as big a priority. It wasn't important to them. So we had to get it out of here. If we had left it on the grass, we would have been dealing with dead sod. We have enough damage to the sod without it being dead. So we have those areas that now need to be straightened out somehow. It looks like truck drove through them and tore them up, and a couple places, as a matter of fact, the truck did drive into them when they were here doing things, along with the little front end loader that they're moving along with, although that does have tracks on it, so that's not causing the big ruts in the wet lawn. I feel that we're all blessed we made it through this. And John was here, and he was on call for all of you, and some people called me on the phone. We reacted to your needs immediately. We're talking urgent needs. We took care of those and we addressed them the best we could. So I really thank you for your patience through this situation and understanding. Everybody will have a chance to speak later in the meeting. Next, we'll have our manager's report. Eric has quite a list to go over. So please hold your comments until the end, and hopefully we'll get everybody that wants to speak a chance to get up here.
So, everybody, hurricane, how many people was it their first hurricane? So, yeah. Being born and raised in Florida, I've been through a few hurricanes. Andrew, when I lived over on the East Coast when I was a kid. Irma, 5 years ago, that a lot of people that didn't raise their hand, that's probably the one that they went through. And it's tough, and it's hard. I mean, this is a Category 4, one of the worst in history. The eye wall, which is the worst part, literally came right at us, right over us. The fact that we didn't have any significant damage to the degree of other places is unbelievable, and we're very, very blessed, just like Bob said. I think it was only 2 or 3 miles an hour from a Category 5 hurricane, and we got hit with the eye. And they told us it was going to hit Tampa right up until the last day. So that was, you know, seeing the community come together, you watch the news, all the people in Fort Myers Beach that really got it, and coming together is really nice. It's really nice to see everybody down here at the clubhouse coming together as a community and, you know, making the best of a bad situation and being there for each other. And, you know, we should all be proud of the way that we have reacted, I think, to a catastrophe. It really is a catastrophe. My only, except for the last couple weeks, every morning when I get out of the car, I say, it looks like a hurricane hit this place. What's going on? This morning was the first day I could say it looks a little bit better than normal. So storm created quite a bit of damage. We were able to bring in short order, a large amount of labor on any given day for those 3 or 4 days that we were really going at it. We had about between 25 and 30 guys working out there. So that's how we were able to do it in such a quick amount of time. The tree service came in. There's still work to do, obviously. You can see some of the trees halfway up out of the ground. The idea was for them to get anything hazardous, anything that could block access, anything that could damage something else out of there. And then they have other communities to help, and they'll come back here and finish up, you know, the more cosmetic stuff as that comes. And then we were able to bring in the same group of farmers that their fields are all flooded from the storm, so they needed work anyway. They were happy to come in and work and pile it all up for us. And I tell you, we had all our debris piled up, and I was getting emails from my community that they're looking at companies to pick up the debris. So I was pretty proud of that. But getting it out of here was the big thing, because not only was it an eyesore and hurting our landscape underneath, but also just for safety. I mean, to have a 15 or 20 foot high pile of brush, you can't creates a little bit of a blind spot when you're turning left or right. So the removal of the debris, and we've staged it beautifully where FEMA can come and pick it up very quickly as soon as they get to it, whatever year that is. And just as an example, I know a lot of people probably are worried about the economics of this. Scott's not here tonight, so that's good for that part. But we had storm chasers, you know, my phones were going off the hook, storm chasers, tree companies, roofers, you know, doing anything they can to try to get business and get into a community like this. And that first morning, when we spoke to one of these guys, to do what we did and get all the brush and debris and tree cutting and all that stuff, they wanted $8,500 a day for 14 days.
Yeah.
So it's about $120,000, something like that. The total cost of what we did is probably between $20,000 and $25,000. So, and that's more than it would be had it not been a hurricane, I'm sure. But it's a lot better than what, and a lot of these places, especially the places like down in Naples, they just say yes because they want to get the stuff done. So I'm happy to say that we didn't get taken advantage of in that fashion. Initially, we focused on the larger community-wide items, hazardous safety issues, impediments to access. But I realize many of you also have damage, individual damage in your house. And one thing that Irma taught us was the concept of wind-driven rain. And what that is when the winds are blowing so fast, it will drive water every different direction into places it would never normally go, cracks and crevices, and then it eventually, usually days after the hurricane sometimes, will show up as a spot in your ceiling or something like that, or where we were seeing a lot of it would be like on the first floor, the water that would come off the lanai, some of it would get down into the, somehow the wind would drive it up underneath and we had to fix the ceilings. So I imagine we'll have a lot of that again. Report it to us, bear with us, we're going to try and do everything as quickly as we can and get it all done. If you have any damage of significance, you probably want to file a claim with your own insurance company and have them come out and check everything. It can't really hurt you if you don't end up filing, the claim doesn't go through, but just in case. As far as insurance goes, I know a lot of people are asking about the association's insurance. The terms of the policies that are available to the association are not favorable to us. So I'm not anticipating a big insurance settlement at the end of this. Unfortunately, it's set up in such a way that once they call it a hurricane, your deductibles go up to a point where it's almost almost like you would never get anything anyway. Like as an example, to rebuild a 3-story building costs $2.85 million is what they're saying, the appraisers. So 5%, let's round it to $3 million. 5% of that's $150,000. So let's say a 3-story building had $160,000 worth of damage. We pay $150,000, the insurance pays $10,000. So understand, I'm not anticipating us getting a big insurance settlement. It's not. As soon as they could kick it up to hurricane, it's not a great situation. So we're making them do all the work though and find out all the damage. And look, we have a lot of ancillary pieces that are insured, like the perimeter fencing, a lot of the stuff at the pool, things like that. So we may get some monies in that regard, and maybe on some of the duplexes or quadplexes that have a little more damage, but most likely it's insurance that we're required by law to buy, but when you need it, it's not really there for us. So just want to keep everybody realistic expectations there. But our insurance adjuster is getting up on every roof, and he's going to document what he sees on every roof. As far as the roofs, I went out with our roofer. We identified we have 94 roofs in the building, 94 buildings in the community. It's actually quite a few more roofs than that because the garage is a roof and the house is a roof. So, so each duplex is actually 2 roofs in a way. Out of the 94 roofs or 94 buildings, we've identified 37 of them that have visible damage that we want to get corrected right away. So what we've done is we've made arrangements to have that all fixed with permanent solutions right away, not temporary solutions. A lot of times I know a lot of people were talking about tarps at the beginning of this, and what Bob was saying is the fact that we used the underlayment, the better underlayment, and if you see the way sometimes these tarps are installed, they can actually cause more damage to your roof than
Yes, I was up at my buddy's in Port Charlotte, and FEMA came out and tarped the roof for him. His neighbor already put a tarp over the shingles that were missing, but they came through the neighborhood and they tarped the roofs. They tarped his complete roof, 100%, edge to edge. They put 1.5-inch furring strips down about every 10 feet vertically to the peak of the roof, and they nailed those down accordingly. So now he has nail holes all over in his roof. He has no choice but to put a complete roof on when he actually had maybe 20 square feet of shingles missing. So they probably caused more damage and cost to that roof than the storm did. So luckily we didn't have to do that because of the underlayment that I mentioned.
Yeah, and on a lot of the buildings, what you'll see is the ridge vent, which is where the gable roof meets. There's a shingle that's raised a little bit above it because it has a mesh ventilation material underneath it. So those caps, a lot of them blew off. That's one of the main things that we're going to be repairing on 37 buildings. So that's the way, what is designed to happen is for those caps to come off, but the ridge to stay in place. When they used to use the metal one, all one piece, and it's attached all the way across, you're way more likely to have the whole decking come off with it, and so it seems like a less substantial product, like when you hold it in your hand, but it actually is beneficial. It work the way it's supposed to. Those shingles on top are really just to make it look nice and finished off. But I could absolutely understand the concern. If you didn't have the knowledge of what that is, I would be pretty worried about it too.
You should also know that we did not make the decision on tarping or not tarping the roof. We had the roofer come out that installed our roofs, and he's the one that said you really don't need to do it, you're not getting any water in, but hey, $1,500 is what it would cost you. He didn't want to do it.
I asked, the type of questions I ask are, if this was your house, would you be putting a tarp on the roof? And that's what I want to hear, the answer for what he says. And we didn't need it. They were charging $1,500 a building. So times that by 37, we did 37. If they thought we needed it, they would be happy to sell us the tarps. So that's a good thing. And we're talking about a few weeks, and they'll be out here doing the repairs. It'll probably be about a week and a half of repairs. Leaks, though, we are going to come across leaks. There's going to be different weird things that we come across. This was a freak of nature type of hurricane. So if you do have any leaks or any sign of leaks, let us know. We'll try to check it out. And if you're on the top floor and you're having a leak, that likely means it could be something with the roof. So let us know that so we can make sure the roofers double and triple check those.
What this would be, they'd refer to as wind-driven rain. and that's what everybody has described. The water was coming sideways across here, so the side of the building that's being pounded into is prone to getting moisture in it. That moisture could get inside the wall and could take a couple weeks, perhaps, before you notice it. So take a look around in your house, look at your walls, let us know if you see anything of concern so we can check this out and nip it in the bud.
And another thing, if you do have some damage that is potentially insurable, so if our claim were to be denied, some of those coverages then your insurance would pick up. So that's my understanding. I'm learning as I'm going here with some of this, but there are different levels of that. So you do want to consider filing a claim if you have the damage. Thankfully, it doesn't sound like we have a lot of inside damage, and we're really lucky. We're really lucky.
Excuse me a minute. From what direction would that, where would we, was it coming from the east?
The water changed directions as the wind did, so I would say all bets are off. I would say that the water intrusion could be from any direction, meaning any wall of your house.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you just have water going on. It's not dropping raindrops from the sky. It's,
Look at the baseboard areas and the ceiling around the walls. That would be a good indicator.
So there's 37 roofs that we're going to make repairs on. We also have, and then if anybody has any leaks, please let us know. There,
Work order or phone call?
huh?
Work order or phone call?
Either one would be fine. It's always nice to have a work order. You can keep a copy and know that you put it in.
As you all know, there's moisture detectors that probe into the wall and they'll test the moisture content. So.
Yeah, and just water gets in all sorts of different weird ways after a hurricane. It's almost like you could spray the spot with a water hose and the water won't get in, but a hurricane somehow it blows the water in. Replacement roofs. We have some units that have not been replaced yet. I believe it's 66 units. That would be 394 of the units have roofs that are 5 years old or less, and 66 of them do not. Those are duplexes that are located, duplexes and one quadplex that are located in condo 3 and condo 2A. So condo 1 and 2 are totally re-roofed. Some of those that I'm seeing, the older ones, they don't look to be in too good a shape, especially after the storm. So for that reason and other insurance reasons that they won't accept roofs over a certain age for insurance purposes moving forward, those will probably be re-roofed at some point in the near future. How the roofing market is right now, I'm not sure. But the repairs will all be made, and we're going to make arrangements. There's 33 buildings still left to roof. But there's a lot of unknowns. I mean, until we get something back from the adjuster on what he sees on these roofs and the pictures, we're not going to know the entire scope of the damage, especially the tall buildings. I want to talk about guests staying in units of their friends or family member or whatever it may be. We feel terrible for all the people that lost everything. I mean, so many people lost everything. I feel bad when I say that we were okay, and I hear somebody else say they lost everything, because it's just terrible. We want to have some compassion and help people as much as we can, but we also have to have some understanding of what's going on and some control of it for everybody's safety and security, and also just to keep account of things and keep the association on the right track. So guests staying in friends of units, that's gonna happen, right? Once your guest has been there for more than 30 days, and they're staying with you at the condo or the villa, you know, where you're there, and someone came to stay with you, they would be a long-term guest after 30 days, and we ask them to fill out a criminal background check, or we fill out the form so we can do a criminal background check on them. If it's somebody, because we've heard others where it's been even worse, the damage, and the people may be here indefinitely, like they don't know how long it's going to be. So those people, we have to treat them as renters, and as such, they're going to have to follow the rental procedure. We can streamline that and take away some of the red tape. So what I hear on TV, I'm saying, we could try to help with that, but you can't streamline it too much because every part of it is important, especially the background checking. But those are going to be renters. Whether they're paying you or not, that's up to you. But if they're here for more than 30 days and it's going to be an indefinite thing, like 6 months or longer, they have to, they're going to be considered renters, okay? Children under 18, we really don't want any children under 18 staying for more than a couple of days or visiting, you know, like a normal vacation. And then some people have invited people over that have some larger dogs, and you know, we all like dogs. One thing I would say to the people who have the larger dogs, they're not going to be able to stay here indefinitely, first of all. That's at some point we're going to have to figure something out there. But if somebody here knows somebody or has a guest that has somebody, have just courtesy and respect of, you know, people move into communities for different reasons. And I guarantee you there's one or two that moved in here because they don't like big dogs and we said we don't have big dogs, you know. So keep that in mind, and, you know, if you're walking an area that's a little more isolated and not right up against all the people, you know, all the ladies with their small dogs that are chit-chatting because it scares them. The other thing, if a dog's not on a leash and it jumps up on somebody, you know, as you get older, I almost tripped over here, but as you get older, your balance gets even worse. So I mean, a dog jumps on, startles you, and you fall backwards, hit your head, and then that's it. So the big dog thing, I understand we have a few people here that are helping people that have big dogs. We don't want to throw the dogs on the street, but we got to keep it under control and be respectful of the fact that people pay money to be here because there's not big dogs, and it could be a danger. Yeah.
Amen.
So
And my dog finds
the last thing I want to talk about is the gate. There's a situation with Florida Power and Light's wire into our breaker to the gate system where it needs to be repaired, and I think FPL will get to it fairly quickly. But I don't know if you guys never noticed on the exit side there's a light on one of the electric poles, and we always wanted it turned on for extra light, but it wasn't ours to turn on, it was FPL's. I guess that became detached, and the electrician thinks he was probably just swinging around and around and around the electrical pole the whole time, and somehow or another our power to our gates isn't there. So that's why the gates are open at the moment, but they'll probably be closed by the end of the week, first of next week, and we'll be back to normal. One thing we did with the gate also is the screen that we put in. There was a little confusion because the company that makes it, I don't know why they would do this, but they say PIN code and then they say phone call, and they don't let you change those. So the PIN code is actually for vendors, and then phone call is where they hit your resident code type of thing. So we have changed the background of the screen to say guests, and you know, if you're visiting a resident or you're a guest, push this button, and an arrow pointing down at the green button. And if you're a vendor, vendors only push this button. So we're gonna see if that works, and I'm hoping that it does. And then I think the rest of it we'll probably cover later on here in the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Eric. We're gonna skip over our usual committee meetings tonight, and each of the committee members is gonna speak on the hurricane and how that affected their portion of that. So Bill, would you start with the amenities and the type of damage that you've seen around here?
First of all, I would like to thank Eric for all the work he's done. And second, Andy Levin, who got the generator going, done a lot of work with that, kept it in fuel, and helped out a whole lot of people. I mean, he was here a lot of times, way after everybody else had left, making sure everything was all right with the generator. John and I were both here. I didn't get out the first day because I just got out of the hospital 2 days before that, but I got out after that, was looking around. So I didn't do a lot of hands-on work because I can at this moment. But you know, it really surprised me in one way, and in another way it didn't, the way everybody in the community came together. I've heard it said over and over, it's more of a family here than anything else. So that really showed it, I believe. Bruce and I rode around and looked at a lot of the amenities. We found a lot of things that was broken down. Around the lake itself, we lost a couple of trees, but amenity-wise, it really didn't do a lot of damage. There's some little small stuff that has to be done, but it really shocked me. I figured we lost everything because I live on the lakeside, and I've been in a lot of places with a lot of wind, but never like that. And one of the ladies on the other side of the building had clocked it anywhere between 111 and it spiked at 150 mile an hour. So we were waiting for the roof to come off. So thankfully it didn't. But we lost a bunch of our light poles, the fiberglass poles.
Sure did.
And I think that had a lot to do with the age of those things too, because they just snapped right off. So I went around with
some of them with the weight on top too.
Yeah.
The extra lights.
Combination.
Yeah, but you can imagine though why we didn't lose more than what we did. If we hadn't done put the extra money into what the repairs we've done in the past and upgrades, a lot of this place probably wouldn't be standing today. But like I said, amenity-wise, we're in good shape. Thank you.
If I could just add one thing. Vicki, I appreciate what you said about getting all the brush out here, but imagine, you know, we did all that preventative tree trimming before the hurricane season, and they were in here trimming like crazy. Imagine had we not done that, what could have happened. So thank goodness we did.
Yes, our retaining wall along the lake has been disturbed because the soil shifted. Gives you an idea how saturated that dirt must have been behind that concrete barrier. I'm trying not to call it a retaining wall, because it's not really a retaining wall. It's more of a heavy-duty berm that was across there.
Yeah.
Most likely to prevent the water erosion from the high winds that could possibly come across the lake during a tropical storm or a hurricane. And we also had some soil damage, you know, out in here, which our insurance adjuster is evaluating. Thanks,
But
Bill.
we also had the lake was completely full, and the water on the west side of the lake was pushing over the top. And why we didn't have a lot more water intrusion amazed me. I guess the Lord was looking out for us, but
Plus,
It's like it was sucked out of you
yeah,
instead of in. It was
yeah.
And that-
weird.
And that's another thing, we're moving forward with the roofing stuff, even before the adjuster gets, we'll just take pictures of it before we fix it if it's something before that, so. We wanna get that done right away, cause I know that's number one worry for most people.
But one other thing, we'd lost part of an old sidewalk or something on the other side of the lake, whatever that was, but it's broken a little bit.
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Ann had a rules meeting, I don't know if that was during the storm, before the storm, but
No, I believe it was
right
before,
in there.
before the
and,
storm. There were 3 board members, Eric and 2 of you community people there. So we went over the rules, what we're trying to do is to condense them so that it doesn't require so much reading. When you hand a person a packet, they only have a couple pages instead of this much. But and Eric and I, we're ready to. He and I are going to sit down and make sure we're on the same page, and then with what was brought up at the meeting, and then that will be going out with the next mailing, which is something else we are going to discuss in a few minutes about the next mailing. That's all I have to say.
all I have to say about that is I'm disappointed in the turnout from the community for the rules meeting based on how much we hear from the community about the rules. I would have thought there would have been more people at the meeting. A year ago, year and a half ago or so, we had a rules meeting and we had about 25 people from the community show up to that. So for this all to be a concern for the residents, you really need to show up to the meeting and voice your opinion. Otherwise, I guess it's not that important to you. So,
Keep going, let's go.
John, could you speak about safety a little bit?
Again, I'm gonna ring the same bell. If it wasn't for Eric's pre-planning, this place would still look like a disaster. I really want to thank all the people that came out that next day after the hurricane, and they volunteered and helped with the cleanup. There were little kids there from 8 years old up to our residents that were 90 years old. Everybody chipped in. It was a great day for Pine Ridge. You could feel the love with everybody out there. You know, there was husband and wives, there was aunts and uncles. I mean, it was incredible. So as far as safety, we will get new light poles, something that will meet a hurricane rated, rated 4 and higher. Again, ring doorbells. If you have power now, let's hope that we can get some more of those online so we have some more coverage. And again, listen, it was a scary storm. Never seen anything like it. So again, thank you to all the volunteers. Safety is what we're concerned with. And again, if you see somebody speeding, give me a tag. Come in and write a report to Eric. We have to slow these people down. So thank you, and I'm glad we all made it through.
Thanks, John. Lori, was anything affected here for landscaping?
Well, happy that structurally it seems we've come through okay, but Hurricane Ian was very hard on our mature landscape. As we move past the cleanup and work toward restoration, the landscape committee looks forward to assisting Eric and the board with recommendations and research on best location for replacement trees, plant material to maintain a safe, Florida-friendly, and valuable landscape for our community. I'm happy to see so many people out, and I'm happy that everybody came through okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Tom?
probably the one thing that wasn't affected, or was affected the least, was our website. And that's not actually working up to speed, and hasn't been. The software company that designed the thing is having major difficulties in the programming, syncing with our accounting system that manages our database. So if you're still having trouble either getting on or getting on the directory, it's not your fault or your problem. And they've been working on this for, I don't know, 10 or 12 weeks. And I get reports from them every day. In fact, I had 3 emails today on it. And all I keep hearing is they're getting closer, and they keep putting different people on it. And I'm getting to the end of my rope with these guys, but it will get resolved here before the end of the year, certainly, but hopefully in the next 4 to 5 weeks. As far as the hurricane and the situation here, Marcia and I were not here. We were up in Minnesota babysitting our grandkids for a couple weeks, and had left September 15th, so a couple weeks before the hurricane hit. And we were like the rest of the nation watching what was happening here to everyone on national TV. And my hat goes off to everyone here who lived through this, to John Mall, from what I understand, John, and the volunteers here did a Herculean effort at picking this place up and getting the streets open. And my hat's off to all of the community members here, as everyone, not to echo everyone else, but everyone came together, they cooked food. My refrigerator's totally empty from what I was told. All of my food, thank you, Shannon, came down to the clubhouse and was cooked. So I hope you enjoyed my steaks.
They were
I've been saving those.
We had 5 cows walking down the street.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I hope a couple of those were eaten too. But it's amazing. And my 2 sons up in Minnesota were quite impressed with how this community of people came together and not only made it through this, but encouraged everyone else and supported each other. And here we are all tonight, all feeling so blessed and so thankful. We've got our electricity, we've got our internet. We're in really good shape compared to so many other areas. And just driving down here the last few days over the weekend, there's so much damage along the roads. It's amazing how, I don't want to say little damage we had here, but how well it's been cleaned up, and we're really fortunate to live in a community like this. And to echo the other board members, I can't say enough about Eric and his pre-planning and advanced preparation. When I heard we had the crews out here picking stuff up within days, that's amazing. And it's a tribute to Eric and the job he continually does here in preparing us and keeping us safe and running this place. Thank you, Eric, and thanks to the board members who Thank you.
I just want to say one other person I forgot was Bruce. Bruce done a whole lot of work too. And I didn't mean to leave him out, but he really went above and beyond a lot of things too.
Yeah, and I was proud of what Bob said. Some of the things that our staff has built over the years, like the wooden shade out here, where you have the picnics, the benches. Only one street sign fell over. So it tells me that what we're building is at least pretty solid. Awesome. So that's good.
Thank you. I liked your reaction when I said that you didn't care about the rules, because I know you all care. That's the reason you're here. And I'm glad to see such a good turnout tonight of everybody. Thanks. So, as far as the storm goes, I've had a handful of people come up to me or Eric and, what can I do? Do you need any volunteers? I see stuff around here that needs to be done. Yeah, there's a lot of little things around here that need to be done. Nobody's doing shingles. But we have a lot of little things that, you know, it's just not covered from the insurance. I noticed we have bushes that the wind pushed on them so hard and the ground was so wet that they actually started coming out of the ground. I think a lot of these can be saved. They could be put back into the ground, a little bit of manpower work. I don't think we need to do much digging, but I think a lot of those could be corrected. There's a couple palm trees that are leaning that I believe could be stood back up. We don't need to be driving stakes into the ground randomly. We could have a crew of people that could do some light landscaping, we'll call it repairs around here. There's broken branches in the tree. These little things that, face it, this is all on us as a community. We can hire it all out, or we can get some volunteers together. I've already had people ask if they can help out. So I think that in a short while we could have a meeting up here maybe on a Saturday. People that want to volunteer, we'll figure out what we can do as far as that goes. We've done a lot so far. This place is 80% better as far as the appearance. We don't have the bushes along the side of the highway, you know, coming in here and that kind of thing. We don't have to worry about the animals that would be living in there. Because face it, there's some pretty good food in that dumpster for the raccoons, and they're lazy. They're going to make a home right in that bush. So, yeah, we got it all out of here. Is there anybody in here that is interested in doing a little light volunteer work? Just kind of get an idea. Okay. Maybe we could meet up here, have a little meeting up here Saturday of those that want to do some volunteer work. We can put a rough plan together. I'm not saying we're going to start doing any actual volunteer work. I think we need to look at a couple other things as far as that goes. I don't want anybody getting hurt. No, don't want nobody getting hurt. So I guess we'd be looking for, dare I say, able-bodied people. But there's a lot of other things that we probably do. We need to put our heads together and see what kind of projects we could be doing around here in the short time. We don't want to jump on anything too fast because we do have an insurance adjuster here assessing things. Does anybody in here have a garage door that's damaged? No? Yes?
My next door neighbor lost his.
Okay.
And I'd like some help trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, we'll help you, Ron.
So does anybody, yes?
What about the eaves underneath, you know, the eaves, they pieces
Yeah,
that
so
fall
there's
over?
quite a
Roofer
bit.
fix that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sorry. We're gonna have an open forum for questions here in just a minute. I wanna move on. Due to the emergency status that kind of put us in. We're gonna have to make some adjustments to the meeting schedule and associated mailings that go out to all residents. Eric, would you please lay out the schedule for everybody so they can plan accordingly?
So normally tonight, as you would come in, we would ask you to pick up your budget package and if there's any rule changes and all those types of things. In the first notice of the annual meeting, the intent to run form for the people that want to run for the board of directors. And that would be sent out to tonight or tomorrow. And but we would have you guys pick them up tonight to save our little postage like we do every year. Obviously, we don't know what type of costs we're up against with the hurricane, and it threw a monkey wrench into the budget. If we were to go with the budget that we have, there's a guaranteed, I always say a budget is a plan, because you never know what's gonna happen. A Hurricane Ian hits and that screws up your budget. A budget is a plan, and you try to stick to it as close as you can, and we wanna have some idea what we're up against. And I think if we had I think the hurricane only hit 3 weeks ago. If we had a little bit more time, we would be able to give you guys a more accurate budget. I don't think anybody's gonna be happy to see the budget because of all the costs going up like you see everywhere. But we're doing the best we can to keep it in line. So, getting back to the dates, since we don't have a budget ready tonight and we don't have everything for you tonight, we're going to postpone that mailing until the next meeting, November 16th, which will happen as scheduled. And you can pick up your packet there, or you can get it mailed to you. The December meeting, that butts right up against Christmas anyway. I think it was 2 days before Christmas Eve. So I don't think a lot of people would be out of town or doing something else than not wanting to do the election of here. So we're going to move the December meeting up by a week to December 14th, which is the second Wednesday, I believe, the 14th, yeah.
Yes.
So the December meeting, that's going to be a change in schedule. It'll be on the second Wednesday instead of the third. And then at that time, we will mail out the election, the voting for the election, the voting for the proxy, your ballot, all that stuff. And it actually might be kind of good. The election's going to be postponed until January's meeting. But I think it might end up being a net positive in the sense that a lot more people are going to be able to be involved and be able to attend. Having it around Christmas every year, Christmas and Thanksgiving, you know, it was kind of a sparse crowd. So I think a lot of people who have never seen us do it will get the opportunity to see us count the votes and do that, and also come and meet the candidates. So we do our Meet the Candidates meeting. So the January meeting will be as scheduled to be the third Wednesday in January, the 18th at 6:30. And then we're looking tentatively at the January 4th Meet the Candidates. It would be 2 weeks before the final votes. We give you guys time to make your decisions. And yeah, so that's due to the emergency, we have no choice but to do that. So November 16th, meeting as scheduled. December 14th, will actually be the budget meeting where they approve the budget. That'll be at 6:30, second Tuesday instead of the third. And then the annual meeting is going to be postponed until January, and that's when we'll do the election of officers.
Thanks. For our volunteer meeting, how about if we do that at 10 o'clock here in the clubhouse? Anybody interested, we'll post that. And oh my goodness.
Oh, I think we were talking about 10 o'clock at night, which is all just
volleyball. Oh man. I don't know how I did that. Okay. 12 o'clock Saturday after your.
3, then we can get started by 4.
12 o'clock Saturday for an hour at the most. Up here in the clubhouse, anybody interested, we'll post it. And is there any problem with all the board members being at that, or any of the board members who want to be at that?
I'll be out of town.
I'll be,
You'll be busy.
I don't want to violate any rules.
Yeah, the sunshine law is 3, but we can, if we put the notice up like it's a board meeting, you're supposed to follow Robert's rules then. I would
Okay.
just try to only have 3. Or if you have 4, one of them doesn't, say sits in the back and doesn't talk.
Yeah.
We don't want to start.
Doesn't talk or nod or wink or like, you know.
yeah, that's what we read.
Time to get out.
I had it, that's my medicine time. Sorry.
Okay, I'd like to take a little bit of time for members of the audience to have any hurricane-related questions. And then we will try to answer those questions completely, because your question may be the same as somebody else's. Please be silent while they're speaking so we can hear them. And
Yeah.
Rosemary.
Oh,
Talking to me?
Rosemary.
I have a question on fencing. We haven't talked about a timeline for particularly fixing any fencing. There's a lot of it down. I have, I don't really care, except that where my fence is now gone, it took my dog about, 30 seconds to realize that she can now escape. So I can't not have her on the leash sitting inside the patio, because she tends to jump over the thing and take off.
fencing is one of those items that the adjuster is looking at right now. We can get to your situation, make your a little bit quicker perhaps because of your situation. I also have had people say, hey, I'm glad the fence is gone, please don't put it back. So everybody's situation is different, but yes, we'll get to your fence quick.
But have you talked to anybody about replacing it?
You're talking the fence around your courtyard?
No, I'm talking about the fence around the community.
Oh, the perimeter fencing.
Yeah, if you
Yeah, we've started to fix some of it, but I mean, it's gonna be a process, yeah. It's gonna be part of the insurance.
So you don't have a fencing company coming out to because there's some areas where you have,
Yeah. No, and I'm not sure that you wanna necessarily go back with that same fencing material.
Well, I'd like to see it all concrete,
It'd be a nice discussion to have of doing it differently, right? Just kinda
Yeah, right, somebody.
I thought you were referring to the little divider wall in between.
I thought you meant the one by your house.
And the others, a
No,
lot
I'm
of
talking
those
about the
were
fencing
blown
that
down.
goes,
But,
my mind's a blank, I'm old, what's the first street, John, that goes down to the side?
Lakeside Club.
Failview.
Yeah,
That looks like.
We were able to get
war
Lakeside
happened
Club kind of rigged. It doesn't look great, but it looks good.
Yeah.
Well enough. We haven't gotten over to snow.
That's one of the things I referred to related to Ann and how we replace these structures and make them strong so they don't blow down again. Is anybody else?
Question in the back.
There's somebody in the back?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Please come up to the mic.
Come up to the mic so we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
No.
We want to see you also. Come on, man.
My name is Jackie Tolles, and I have a question regarding the cleanup that's being gone on. Is that the landscapers that we had do our services before, or is this a new company?
The landscapers that did the debris cleanup is like a harvesting, an orange harvesting company.
The gentlemen that were cutting the lawn.
Yeah, Avant Yard is in the process of being acquired by a larger landscaping company. So we don't have all the details on that, but that's.
I'm not sure they know about our pickup. After the company came in that you hired to do the cleanup, they picked up all the debris. And then our nice residents went and cleaned up their yard and then put the debris in the pile in front of their house. Well, these new lawn keepers don't know to come along on Tuesday to pick up all the piles. It's Wednesday and the piles are
We could
sitting
talk to them. Their
there.
truck broke down on Tuesday, actually, so that
Okay.
may be part of it.
Well,
but,
that could be, but
and that's why it
it
was
should
here
be
overnight that we
reminded
saw it.
that they have that responsibility because we do put things there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. One thing I'll say, a lot of people bag that stuff up. It's better if you just put it out there in a pile. Don't bag it up. You're more likely to have it picked up. I think there was also some confusion this week, having our regular landscapers with the guys from P&L, the harvesters, on who's cleaning up what. Ron.
Come on up. Can't see who that is.
Run.
Ron.
Hi there.
Hi, Ron.
This is a great community. It's a wonderful place to live. And it's great that we passed around a whole bunch of attaboys. But there are a couple of things. One is the drainage system did not work the way it's supposed to work. We only got about 3.5 inches of rain.
Yeah, they're not being
No,
able to
nobody
hear
can
him.
hear.
Here,
We
we only got about 3.5 inches of rain. With Irma, we got 8 inches of rain. But yet with this storm, the lake overtopped itself. It didn't do that with Irma. If we'd have gotten more rain, say 5 inches or 6 inches, and a tropical storm has typically 12 to 16 inches of rain, we'd have had more problems here. So there's a problem with the drainage out of the lake, and we've known that for years. But I think it's time we need to do something about it, because the next time we might not dodge the bullet. Second thing is that we went through and tied down all the roofs here about 10 years ago. But we've never had a storm like this before that's hit this community. We should have someone inspect all of that roof underneath, under the layman, and make sure that all those ties are still on there strong. They don't have to do every building. They can just do a sample of duplexes and condo buildings. But somebody should really take a look at that. Other than that, I just love living here. So, thank you for all of that.
We do have a wind mitigation on all the buildings, and perhaps that wouldn't be a bad idea to do a spot check on those that had the heavier shingle damage.
Yeah, just to make sure that those ties are still and strongly in place. Okay.
I'd like to say one thing about, about the lake. One reason why it didn't run out as good as it normally does, the wind was blowing from south to north, and it pushed away from the drain. On this end of the lake, it was probably down 1.5 feet lower than it normally was. And that was one of the reasons why, but we still need some drainage, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, we still need drainage, because when I went over and looked at the ditch over there, the ditch is all full of edges. And so the county needs to come in and clean out that ditch and make sure that that culvert is draining properly, because there's 600 feet of culvert between us and the main drainage ditch.
On the other side of the lake, the day after the storm, you could see
Thank you, Ron.
how far over the water had, and assuming it was like a surge of water when one wind, you could see the line of stuff that came out of the lake, and
Debris.
you know, it was 10, 12 feet away in some cases from the seawall.
Well, I've been working on the screens, trying to find someone to come in and fix screens. I've got about 16 names now of people. I had someone contact me last night. I don't know where he got my name because I hadn't contacted him. He wanted $300 to fix the little screen above my door. So I said no. I think he was, what do you call those guys? Yeah.
Carpetbaggers.
Yeah. So I told him I declined that.
keep taking down everybody's name.
I am.
If you, and then I'll try to help you find somebody.
Okay.
that's reasonable.
I've got, some guy said he could come in January, another guy said 6 months, some guy, so I got like 4 or 5 different people that, you know, I've contacted and they've gotten back with me, but nobody can come right now. So just be patient, we'll get it done, and if you have screen damage, give me your name and I'll put it down in the list.
Thank you.
And I'll start to ask around and try to find
Okay.
Please be very cautious with contractors signing any agreement. Never go with one bid.
And he could come this week.
Of course.
I guess you could.
I would come and get my $300 too.
Hello there, residents and board. This was my first hurricane, not such a nice introduction, but I had accordion shutters on my windows and nothing hit the shutters, so no damage there, but the wind was whistling and we were first sitting at a wall where the window was near, and I said, I can't take the wind anymore, so we went to the living room, which was kind of centered. But here's my question or problem or I need help in. When the hurricane was finished and I walked around, I noticed almost everybody has generators, big ones, small ones, and I would like to know, you know, I'm a person, if I find something good, I don't mind divulging it and giving the help to other people. I would appreciate the ones who do have generators to let me know, do you like it? Or you would have bought a better one? Do you want to get one that goes on gas and the propane? What kind would you recommend? I do not want a big line coming into my house. All I want my refrigerator because I had to throw everything away. So air conditioning, I could probably do without, okay? I never had air conditioning as a child, so I wouldn't miss it probably. But the refrigerator and the food that I spend money on is very important to me. So whatever I was able to save my good neighbors, Tom Donner, you took some of my meat products that were still somewhat frozen, and there was another lady down, I don't know what his name is, Rich. He was willing to take some of my eggs and some of my cheese, okay? So I buy kind of in bulk, not one egg, you know, I have 4 or 5 dozens. So generator information, I would really, I would really appreciate if you could give me names, how you liked yours, was it big, small? Actually, Joan and John, they have a nice small one, and it was very quiet when it was running. It was actually the quietest one that we came across. So I would appreciate it. Somehow tell me, shall I approach you when I walk past your house? Yeah, I remember your generator. What do you want to tell me about it?
Well, we have a resident who Bill Fanger, his name's Andy Levin, he's Bill's neighbor. He knows a lot about generators. He tunes up our generators for us.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
He would be a good resource. And then I'll tell you what I did after Irma. I said, you know, we should have a generator that can run the air conditioning so people can at least have some air conditioning.
Yes,
and,
this was wonderful here.
So we called our electrician, and he recommended which one we should get, and then he installed the infrastructure. There's a special plug that they'll install.
Well, this is a
in
big
your house.
unit, yes, but you could run it on a heavy electric wire from what I saw
If
some
you wanted,
people
if you
had.
wanted
Yes,
to, if you wanted
yes.
to, yeah. It's so it just depends.
Yes, you know, a quick fix, so to speak.
You
So-
want to talk to an electrician because they will know what you want to run, what wattage you will need.
That is true, except I might not get an honest answer as to which is better and which is not. Which you would recommend and which you would not recommend.
I'll tell you.
Thank you very much, yes, I would really appreciate it, thank
But
you.
Andy, he's really good. He knows the small ones and the
Yes.
quieter ones.
Thank you, thank you.
There's the internet. As far as generators go, I don't know that we're the kind of people that really would recommend a generator type or that kind of thing. A working generator is great. A generator cannot be on your balcony at your condo. It's the biggest problem with a generator. You have exhaust coming out of those, and as you've probably heard on the news, they're really concerned about people dying from carbon monoxide poisoning. Ron has a quick comment, maybe?
I volunteer to help her.
You help? There you go.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks, Ron.
I'm Marcia Trino, I live at 4741 Blackberry.
Can't hear you.
I don't think that's on.
That thing
Okay.
is not on.
Hey, can you turn
I'm
it on,
Marcia
Bob?
Trino, and I live at 4741 Blackberry, and I thank people who took care of our unit while we were gone and took pictures so I could see it wasn't wet. Thank you, that's the kind of neighborhood that we like to be a part of, so thank you to everybody there. My second, thank you for apologizing to We Don't Care. I've been on the Rules and Regs Committee since a month after I moved in here.
Yes.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I asked,
You're doing good.
I'm doing good? You don't mind seeing the back of me? Okay. The one thing I had asked is if it was possible for us to move that meeting as it had gone out a lot. And I feel strongly that I would like to still be involved and at least have the opportunity to read what has gone on with those rules and regs, unless I'm kicked off the committee or
No,
whatever.
there is no committee. Well, I guess there, a long time ago there was, but
Yeah.
anyhow. No, Marcia, when we get, he and I are going to go over finally, we will show you what, we're gonna give it to you and the other two members, the two residents that came, and then you look it over, and if there's any input, we need it right away so we can get them out next meeting.
I thank you.
We're gonna give it to the board too, I don't know if you know any of the members, but.
Whether or not he shares it with me or not, I don't know. So that's great, thanks, Ann, I really appreciate that, because I want to be involved
Thank you
in
for
that.
your interest.
Eric, you addressed guests in our community. I don't want to sound cold and heartless about this, but what about units that the owner is not there, and they've told people they can stay there?
But that's what I wanted to make very specific, and I don't know if everybody understood what I was saying. If somebody's staying with you while you are there, you know, I commend you, it's a great thing to do to help people. If they're gonna be there longer than a month, they're gonna be long-term guests, and they're gonna have to pay the long-term guest registration, which is criminal background check, and they can't have a criminal background in order to stay. That's gonna be.
But the 30 days can they be there?
But 30 days is what our documents say, and I think that's a reasonable amount of time to give people
Right.
to, you know, either make other arrangements or, but that's for people staying in your house. Those are guests. Now,
If you're there.
if you're there,
you're
right,
So you're
right.
not
Now, if
there.
I'm,
Sounds like my street.
if Bob's in Michigan or John's in New York, and he lets his friend use the house while he's not there, and a lot of our people leave for 6, 7, 8 months at a time because they're only here in the winter, then those people are, to us, they are renters, they're tenants, they're not guests, because you're not there to make sure that they follow the rules like you would a guest normally. So,
But you're so responsible for them following the rules.
and then those people will be responsible for the application fee for the rental and all of that. But those, if you're gonna be here for over a month without the owner being present, you are a tenant, you know, whether you're paying rent or not. And that's something we have to be tough on it. Like just what Marcia says, you don't want to sound cold because we want to help everybody, you know, but we also have to remember that we can't save the world, and we have to also take care of ourselves, you know, take care of ourselves and make sure that we know who's here, who's following the proper procedure. I think the guest issue will kind of weed itself out once the gates are back in operation, because a large percentage of those people aren't going to be able to get in and out, and then they're going to have to come and see me, and we can see what's going on.
I think the owners will just give codes, but I know when Tom and I got Monday afternoon, I see cars there that we've never seen before. I don't know whose they are. There's no Pine Ridge sticker on it.
There are a lot of people here
Yeah.
staying and using places. And
Yeah.
Talking about the people across the street from us, they're lovely people.
I have no doubt about that.
There's no,
You know,
there's
I have
nobody
no
else
doubt
around,
about
but they're
it.
lovely people.
No,
but-
it's, we want to help people, but,
Right.
you know, there comes down to it. They need to register with the office and follow the proper
How are they
procedures.
gonna know
And
that?
How would they know
gonna
that?
know that?
Well, we're introducing the policy tonight, and we can put it down into writing and make it very clear for everybody. But if you, yeah, and the owner's supposed to know that. The owner's supposed to know you can't just move somebody in, you know, like, if a single person met a boyfriend or a girlfriend, they wanted to move in, they know they have to go through the long-term guest registration. Right. And most of them come down and they register because they want to get a sticker for their car, so we make them fill out the long-term guest registration. But yeah, if someone is staying with you and you're helping them, they're considered a guest. If they're using your apartment, be it for free or if they're paying you, and you're not there, they're going to be a tenant. And 30 days is going to be the cutoff. Like the first week of November, that's going to be the cutoff.
I just want to thank everybody that was ever here. I know we felt very mixed, and our sons were clear that we're not in the best shape to be helping out. And they got me when one of them said, if you buy a bottle of water, you're taking away from a child. And so we stayed a little bit longer because they guilted mom good. But so just thank you all. Driving down, if we didn't know what exit to get off on, we wouldn't be here. Every sign is down, and it was really great to see Pine Ridge look so wonderful. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
Sit down, Marcia.
Very well done. I'll make it quick.
Good. Yankees are on.
I don't care. I also wanted to put a shout out to you for getting TV hooked up for everybody because we were cut off.
Yeah.
I mean, that made such a big difference to
Oh, when we
the
got the
people.
TV
Yes.
down in here. Yeah.
When, you know, people could come down and see, I mean, everybody that was up north, like you and you, they saw more than what we did. And, you know, people are calling me and asking me, are you sure you're okay? Because they're seeing everything on TV. So that was a great thing to have, that, you know, everybody could come in here and see really what, that, you know, how lucky we were.
Yeah, I'm happy we could get that on. And then, as you bring that up, I am working on Comcast right now. You know, we were without longer than just about anybody that I've spoken to that got everything else back. There's still people that have nothing. But our cable bill is $18,000 a month. And, you know, I let the vice president of Comcast know that almost all of our people have generators and they all would have been watching TV if their system would work. So, however many days it was, I think it was 9 or 10 days. So that's going to be significant monies, and maybe we can use that to offset some of the costs that we had, so that'll be good.
And whenever somebody does get anything on,
And you can call for your personal and get a credit also through the internet.
on the screens, because I did lose 9 screens out of my cage, and unfortunately, that is one thing that's not covered under my hurricane insurance. So whenever somebody can.
You want your name on that?
Yes, please. And where did the butterflies go?
They were smart, they went south. But they're back.
They flew north.
Yeah, no, they went south.
About a year ago, I looked at a architectural review for a screen replacement, just to give you folks an idea. It was a year ago, and it was $1,200. They were doing the bird cage out front of one of the houses on Windsor Club Circle. Everything's gone up, but for example, that $500, $600 it was for the screen door was just insanity. That's a $30 piece of screen plus some labor. So,
Well, and what's going to happen is materials are going to go up because they're going to be in short. It's just going to be supply and demand. That's why we're jumping on the roofs with the shingles, and hopefully we can find somebody with the screening.
Did everybody hurricane-related questions?
One more thing, talking about screens, I have a screen door for the kitchen screen, the kitchen,
Sliding door?
sliding door. I have an extra screen in my garage. Anybody wants it, they can have it.
I just have, if, this is just a prepping thing, if you have a digital antenna for your TV, you might wanna pick one up. You can get one at Dollar Tree, Walmart, wherever. It's only like, I think it was like $25, and that hooks into your TV and you don't need cable. So we were watching TV within 24 hours, or within 12 hours.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what
You can
happened.
use a coaxial cord too.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, I'll tell you what happened is we had an antenna that we bought after Irma.
Yeah.
And it was here, but it wasn't working. And then I moved over to that TV and it didn't work either, so then I said, okay, it's the antenna, it's not the TVs. And I went to Target, I spent $11, I
Yeah.
came back and we had TV,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Because we had TV, but soon as
But when you lose power, if you don't have a generator, you have to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just,
eeny, meeny, miny.
okay.
Okay, I just wanna say one thing. You can call Xfinity also and tell them you were out of internet for 10 days.
Yeah.
And they will tell you exactly how much money you're gonna get back.
Yeah, they
You have to
figure it out
talk
how
to
much
somebody.
per day it costs and then they give you that exact amount.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, anything.
Will the board be looking at some policies about generators? Cause I've heard, I wasn't here, that some of them were too close to buildings, and then the condos really scares me.
I don't think we need
Minnesota, we
a
get a lot of
policy related to that. The one situation that we had regarding the closeness of the generator was addressed immediately and corrected.
That's not true.
Well, one thing I would
Not
say,
true.
say
True.
about the generators, I know some of the people in the condos are concerned about the generator. Education before the storm, making some kind of rule or policy today and then us having a storm in 6 years and everybody better follow that policy, it doesn't work. What works is before the storm, sending out generator safety and so that way people have it.
This is a concern. There was a comment over here from, about the generator not being corrected or something.
It was a crack of dawn the day after the storm, and my dog desperately wanted to go out, so out we went. And, it was still dark out. And I could see the cords snake down staircases from upstairs condos and generators in the middle of sidewalks. And I'm thinking, dear Lord, if fire and rescue had to come in here or somebody in the dark, because you know how pitch black it was, we had no light here. It wasn't safe. That was not safe. That, and unless you have oxygen and or CPAP machine,
Well-
running them 24/7 a day, when you're trying to sleep with your windows open because you got no air conditioning, is loud.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's a catch-22,
Yeah, just.
We'll think about that.
A lot of parks, they'll only limit you, like state parks or national parks, for only a certain amount of time that you can run your generator, and then it's gotta be quiet. So, I mean, you can get it, see, your refrigeration, shut it off, keep your refrigerator and all that cool stuff.
Education is
But,
most important.
I mean, you
It
can
could
restrict
conserve a
it.
lot of fuel by doing it that way also.
That's the other comment about purchasing a generator. You have to feed it.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the little generator that doesn't supply a lot of power, it's quiet. You probably would have spent $100 on that. The big generator that's gonna keep your air conditioning going, you probably would have spent $300. So, how much food are you trying to save? Kinda gotta weigh it out.
The main thing is have it outside and pointed away from your house. It's just like a car, if you start the car in the garage with the garage door down, that's the same type of fumes that the generator gives off, so you want to definitely do that. And some education, I think, is helpful, right before the storm, let people know.
One thing about generators is what Eric is saying is education, is knowing what you're dealing with. And like, if you live in a duplex, usually one generator can run 2 fridges. So like our neighbor has a generator, and we had a generator. he ran his generator part of the time and we ran ours generator part of the time. And we were able to work together. And that's one of the things that was neat about Irma and Ian is the community comes together and everybody learns together and works together and helps everybody. So, you know, talk to your neighbors about generators.
Make a motion to
I'm gonna do that right now. I wanna thank everybody for